Oh, baby, everybody, and welcome back to Words with Wayman. I am your host, as always, Matt Wayman. Thank you so much for supporting us on the interwebs. Everybody, check us out. We are back with a hot Part 1 St. Louis comedian, sweet boy. Please give it up. Mr. Ben Johnson, thank you for coming out.
The notable sweet boy.
Sweet boy, you're very, very funny. One of my favorite comics of the city, hands down. Are you originally from St. Louis?
I'm originally from, Arnold, which is like 12 minutes south of. We have a water tower. It's
Yeah, you made it out. You made it into the big city.
Made it to the big city. Learned how to parallel park.
Yeah. That's something I guess you don't even forget. I always forget until I go home to like small towns and you can just pull right up. You don't have to parallel
That's
park.
That's right. Just pull right up. We leave the Applebee's open all night.
Yeah.
Just in case the team loses.
Turns into a nightclub, or if they win, huh?
Or if they win.
Win-win all
You
around.
wouldn't want to be. They always follow the team that lost and going into Applebee's way too late.
Oh, yeah.
And they're about to close down, but the line cook's like, you know what?
2
I'll
seconds
clock in again.
Just for them, if you win or lose, you're still getting hash browns, everybody. That is the goal. That is people hang out at Walmarts. That's a thing in small towns, which blows my mind. Everybody's like, what are you doing tonight? There's like Walmart.
Yeah, that was a thing in high school.
Yeah.
We would do all the time. Just go to Walmart, take laps, kind of be dickheads around the store. I remember just taking balls out of the big ball cage. That is one of the hot items over at Walmart.
That is the currency over there.
Is the currency. Yes.
What, would you just throw them around?
Yeah, you just take one and kick it as far as you could, and then try to avoid being seen by any workers.
Because Jeff had to put it back, or you knew somebody had to like.
No,
yeah.
we didn't know any of the employees.
It was just the angst coming out.
You're just trying to act out.
I think that's the thing. It's like, what can you do? I'm probably not going to get arrested for, but I can still convey my anger.
That's a lot of, I think, stand-up comedians, because people talk about how they're not the boisterous, grab the attention all the time, like in the middle of class. But I was always doing things that would have got me in trouble, just very smaller, quieter ways. Just find ways to get away with it.
Just think about them more so that they're smarter instead of just being the one that gets caught all the time for being a dummy. How was grade school for you in Arnold?
It was public school education.
Okay.
School like 2000.
Okay, that's not bad.
No, Arnold's like a big hub. It's a big, am I looking at commuter town? Because they have shot down expanding the train track.
Really?
Yeah, a couple times, because it's kind of spread crime down here.
Oh, okay. All that crime that comes with the trains from 18.
Yeah, they're afraid of like cowboy robbers, mostly like guys that
they still believe Jesse James is alive, and
there are billboards for him all over the state.
Yeah.
So he's probably still in the cut.
Yeah, if you see him, high five him. He should be the president of the state.
Pretty sure he has a buffet named after him somewhere in the middle of Missouri.
Oh God, if he's doing it right.
Or cave. He's definitely got a cave to it.
Merrimack Caverns is a Jesse James cave.
Yeah, how many people can say they're the namesake for a cave?
I would love to be. I hope that's why I'm in this comedy game, because one day I want them to name a cave after. I'm going to hide all my jokes in a cave one day, and I hope somebody finds them. All the long lost one-liners that everybody has. So what? How did you get into skipping just a bit ahead? What, high school in Arnold, and then?
Okay, it's Fox.
Fox?
That's the name of it. Fox Senior High School. Yeah.
We wrestled against you guys. I went to Vianney.
Yeah, that was.
So you guys were some rough kids.
Is that Catholic or Jesuit?
It was Jesuit. Yeah.
Jesuit?
It was like a daycare. It was pretty unbelievably
it's like
easy.
a Montessori school for.
Pretty much. We didn't. We didn't do
pre-K.
much. Well, we were kind of like a Catholic school, but we were kind of like the dumb kids.
The dumb Catholics?
Just like, yeah, how like all schools have like really good. We were on the bottom tier of like the private schools.
School. Okay.
Yeah. Stoners and.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Jesuit educations, though, as far like it's not just your standard Catholic school experience.
No, I enjoyed it. That was for sure. It was good. We learned a lot.
Pretty open-minded thinkers and so forth.
Yeah. It was definitely good. Teachers were cool, and a lot of like younger guys and gals, and people were excited to be learning a little bit at least.
A couple really cool teachers at Fox.
Mm-hmm. Every school's got some good ones.
Every school's got some good ones.
Yeah.
Inspiring people who actually care about their job.
Yeah, I didn't get into comedy at all. Did you comedy at all, like improv or anything like that in high school?
No, I'm thinking about signing up for improv.
You totally should. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of like Comedy Bang Bang and stuff like that.
Yeah. What would you? I mean, I guess your stand-up style. I guess it's just more free, maybe not be it. But I definitely get some improv undertones in there. I'm surprised you haven't done improv before.
Yeah, but gonna sign up for.
My dog Bubba's going crazy. Everybody,
He's your co-host.
He is on on the podcast a lot. We're gonna get him some peanut butter here in a couple minutes. And
Is that part of the podcast?
No, I put it in a bone, and then he leaves us alone for 20 minutes.
Oh.
So
I was hoping I would get a Kong. Is that what you call them?
Yeah.
Lick some peanut butter out of that.
One of the first podcasts I've recorded on this, Bubba swallowed a Kong when we were doing it and almost died. Yeah, right before we recorded it, and I had to pull it out of his throat, and he bit my hand up. But that's more of a side bloody note, huh? I didn't appreciate that, guys.
Classic episode of the podcast.
Classic episode of the podcast. It's more of an adventure theme. Some of the times we just talk. Other times there's actual adventures that occur.
So we didn't get to it. Arnold is like a commuter hub for all the towns south of us. We just have all the fast food chains. I just didn't want to leave that thread open.
No, that's fine. Yeah, more like Cape Girardeau is one of those. Just like a fast food. It's got every fast food restaurant you could ever see in the entire world.
It's a college town.
College
town's different.
They need the fast food.
Because there's a big industry for it.
Yeah. So commuter town. So you feel like
not commuter. I don't. I suppose people work other places from there. I just couldn't find the word, and I said it wasn't that earlier, so I.
Okay. You don't want to be getting some bad feedback on that. People are.
No. This is just how I act. I don't care about your iTunes score.
How did you get here from after you went to high school and college and stuff?
I think I started doing stand-up comedy when I was 20, and
nice. That's young.
I suppose so. I feel like it's happening more and more that way now that stand-up comedy is more just ingrained in the public mindset as a thing.
There's a lot of comedians.
Yeah, and more people are getting into it, younger and younger. I mean,
where were you exposed to it for the first time?
Like growing up, stuff like that. My dad had Jerry Seinfeld's "I'm Telling You for the Last Time."
Yeah.
Did we have that on cassette? I think he had a CD.
Yeah.
Just a big fan of Seinfeld in general over there. And then I got a bunch of Jeff Foxworthy CDs.
Cool.
At like Christmas and stuff from my mom's side of the family.
I'm a fan of Jeff Foxworthy. A lot of people hate him.
No, a lot of people.
I like him.
Just hating on like the country aesthetic.
Yeah. On the dude that makes a bunch of cash.
I hope that didn't go into the microphone.
That is inside of the microphone. That's going on there.
Oh, is that why it's okay? No, apparently he puts on like 2-hour shows now.
Yeah.
No opener. And that is something you have to show mad respect
to do
for.
2 hours of comedy and to keep it going. To know that you're just kind of building them up for that second hour.
That is just a long time to sit and watch anything.
Yeah. That has to be a very entertaining movie.
Golden Corral?
People, they love... But, I mean, I think he's... honestly, he's got so much material, and it's different that he's good enough to do it. I mean, if anybody... I mean, Cosby was doing really long shows before. Yeah.
I don't care for... We'll have to talk about...
Oh, no.
We can save this for after the podcast.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the after the podcast.
After the podcast
That's
notes.
the real
Yeah.
podcast.
we never release it, ever.
Staying in the vault.
Where'd you get up for the first time?
Let's see. That was over at Comedy Etc., which was on the second floor of a Drury Inn and is no longer there. That was like I don't know all the different grades of comedy, but it was like a C or D level room, I guess, where it's just a lot of lesser knowns.
Or has-beens or never will-be's.
Hey, you're throwing around the...
Yeah, a lot of the... I mean, there's some funny people in those clubs, too, that's for sure.
Comics that are back from the high seas.
They're good comics. I mean, a lot of those you got to get.
That's true.
If you don't have like
another 3 separate hours of maybe even like squeaky clean material. That is not easy to do.
That's super tough.
I love saying fuck.
Yeah, a lot, and it's easy, and it works a lot.
Well, it just adds another dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's expressive if applied tastefully.
Yeah, I think so. I think you definitely see a lot of people going towards it, and if it's like, oh, I can actually believe that they're saying that, that's cool. But I feel like some people just pepper it in for to just try to get.
You gotta have the bravado going in. You just can't just be.
You have to be angry about something. You got to be upset, and people got to know it. Did your first set go well?
My first set went pretty good. I was just saying all my bits word for word out loud in my car, afraid that I was going to forget them whenever I got on stage. And it wound up going okay. I forget most of the jokes that I had. I did like the same exact set the second week, and I was much more nervy and like clearly shaky, and I ran into a table whenever I got off stage.
Whoa.
There's only like 8 people there.
Yeah.
And the first 2 times I went up, I was wearing sweatpants.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Just rock hard the whole time. I'm excited to be here, guys. Sweatpant comic, huh?
Just the first 2 times.
No, that can happen.
Comfy.
Yeah, right.
You don't know about you never think about the dress code.
No, I wore a hat on stage a bunch of times, and I was like, and then I looked at video, like a wide brimmed hat. Like
a
way
back
too,
hat?
just kind of like a not like an aggressive fedora, but like a hat with a rim too wide, where you're like the light would completely cover my half of my face most of the time.
Okay.
And then I just finally saw a video, and I was like, why am I doing terrible on stage all the time? And I was like, because I look like a scarecrow up here. It was bad.
And misused and ill-loved, and the rain falls on the city.
You write, I wouldn't say predominantly, but like shorter bits.
Yeah.
How did you find yourself writing towards that, you think?
I don't know. I've written longer stuff. I've written. I wouldn't say it's like one-linery, but it is to the point, and yeah, I'd say minute and a half is probably a sweet spot.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think it's not just. I think they're all super funny, so they're warranted. I just find myself like I'll just write like 3 or 4 like one-liners and just put them together and try to make it into like a 1.5 minute bit because I don't.
Yeah, or like I think it's just very punchy. I feel like I don't know if that's like been like maybe whenever I started or this or that, or maybe I just don't like being up there and rambling about something, or like even like crowds at the Funny Bone, which I love that club, but sometimes the crowds can be a little raucous during later shows and on weekends and stuff like that. Not that I don't know if that they're exceptionally so, but it's nice to just keep the ball in the air. Just constantly.
Yeah, I hosted out there a couple weekends back, and yeah, they're all fun. But yeah, it's like you got to be hitting them with jokes. I know, buckets of beer and all of the booze. We did one show later at night, or like the 10:30 show was like sold out, and then they did like a midnight show, and there was like 7 people. So you went from like almost 200 to 7 immediately. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
this
They
is a
still
real
do
club.
midnight show.
Still did it.
Apparently, that's a blast from the past, and you
Yeah.
don't know about that if you start here.
Yeah.
Yeah, comedians coming through. Like I haven't seen that since like 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But they all died out.
They're all dead out. They're keeping it going.
They were smoking until like 2 years ago.
Which is awesome.
Which is goddamn land of the free. That's
International water is that is capitalism at work. You buy it out.
I went 20 minutes south of Arnold, and they were still smoking in restaurants. And I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Like, did you guys not hear about it? I'm for it. I was living in New Orleans, and pretty much until like a year ago, you could pretty much smoke everywhere, and freedom. Why not? It's because the people still smoke down there, still vote. But it got passed too somehow.
That won't last too long, right?
I don't think so.
The smoking smoker, the voting smoker.
It is a dying breed, one of my favorites. Speaking of dying breed, this episode is getting down to being a dying. That didn't really go, but I'm going to force it into it anyway. Before we get out of here, I always like to end with what would if you'd have any advice for like a young stand-up comic or like anybody like a young creative person out there, kind of what would it be?
Just do it.
Do it.
Yeah, get out there, try it out. If it's for you, it's for you, and I think you'll know it.
Kind of just tell right away like that this is kind of the right fit.
Yeah, or I think it'll be an experience that you get something out of, even if it doesn't wind up being the ultimate thing for you.
Yeah. That's a good point. You do kind of know right away, or like at least a couple times, because I feel like the first time you kind of black out, you don't really remember it.
Yeah, because there's so many things that you can sink your time into that just don't. I think after doing it for long enough, it just kind of feels emptier.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not really getting something. Like I could play video games for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
But after a certain amount of time, it's like I'm not getting any nutrients out of this.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get some of that soul food.
Yeah.
And I think just find that thing that is that feels worth the time to you. And yeah,
That's
just
great. Go for it. Do you want to let everybody out there know where they can find you on the interwebs, on the Twitters and all that jazz?
I guess I post every so often at
Or whatever you want to plug.
Benjamin Jensen.
Benjamin Johnson?
Yeah. Bonjamin.
Yeah.
Jehnsson.
Yeah, and catch him on...
Twitter.com.
Yeah, Twitter. Gotta get it. Well, it's still a thing. Support us on the interwebs on Twitter at Words with Wayman. Words with Wayman on Facebook. We'll be right back with a part 2 with Ben Johnson. Thank you so much for being here. Thank everybody for listening. We'll see you all soon.